Wow. So, those first two bits tonight have really got me rethinking my life's fashion choices. Lizzie, you're awesome. Kay, wow. And for the rest of you, I got to start this off a little bit differently tonight. And some of you know the answer to what I'm going to ask. Please don't shout it out, because we need the other people who don't know or just a little slower to get there to have time to acclimate. So this is, I'm warning you, this is a trick question. Okay, you know up front, it's a trick. It's a conspiracy. They're out to get you, really. No, what weighs more? 5 pounds of feathers, 5 pounds of rocks? Don't say it. I know you want to. Let them settle in with it, because it's going to come back later on in the bit. All right? We need them to have time to figure it out. You can Google it. Ask your, Google AI. It'll help you out. So, holy cow, White Rock. Hello, White Rock. Or help me out here, those of you who are from here. Is it South Surrey? What is it? Huh? See? Right? Half the crowd, White Rock, half the crowd, South Surrey, yeah, right. And those people from Vancouver, they didn't even know how to get here. That's why they're late. It wasn't about that. Traffic was made up. True story. Recently, I mentioned to somebody that we were doing this bit here in White Rock, and the guy seriously looked at me and said, "Where's that?" And that led me to realize that, some people in Vancouver are just so enthralled and happy with their lives that they have no reason to think beyond Boundary Road, And yet, the other side of that coin is some of them's lives are so pathetic, they can't think beyond Boundary Road. Oh, wow. So, White Rock. As a kid, I had to take the bus from Aldergrove Langley to Wally, then change buses, come all the way out to White Rock. It took like 2.5 hours. And I always thought, White Rock, beach with really big rock with bird poop on it. But it was kind of fitting, thinking of it that way, because our neighbor in Blaine, all my childhood, I kept hearing these reports about accidental releases from their sewage facility. And so White Rock Beach would get closed, 2-3 times a year. And I'm like, man, I swam in that. And people are worried about that rock covered in poop. Oh, maybe that guy from Vancouver just crawled out from under that rock. So, but the other thing about White Rock too is my dad. He would come and pick us up and take us out every once in a while, and we didn't have swimwear, So he'd take us to the beach, and if my dad says you're going swimming, you're going swimming. It doesn't matter. So off come the clothes, and there I am in my Captain Marvel underoos, and I am running. I am doing the 1/4 mile out to the edge of the water, because we all know what it's like when the tide's out here. The sand forever, and I'm running, and 800 meters out. Oh yeah, like Canada, we're going to do the metric system here. 800 meters out from the shore, like, oh, I'm far enough away now, I can stop running, and Captain America can take over. Here I am, I'm going to save the world. As soon as I get in the water, and nobody can see my underoos. So, but that first 1/4 mile, I'm running for my life, because nobody's going to see me. Okay, next, new beach. I'm in Honolulu in Hawaii. I'm 5 years old. My mom takes her 3 sons on a holiday, and there's one evening we're out on the beach, we're at the luau, fire breathing, the lei, the hula, all that stuff is going on. And at the end of the thing, next thing you know, I'm running for my life. I'm running in the dark and I'm being chased. And I'm running, I'm starting to get a little tired, but suddenly I see the familiar sign of the hotel we're staying at, and I book it into the hotel, and I run to the desk, and I get the key, and I race upstairs, and I unlock the door, and 20 minutes later, my brothers finally catch me. My mom's still on the beach looking for me. Can you say trauma? My poor mom. Shout out to moms, eh? You know, I love my mom. So wow. So the mind of a 5-year-old, you know, I was thinking, you know, there was a little bit of an age gap, and my brothers didn't really want to teach me anything. My dad didn't really teach me anything because, you know, he spent all that time with my older brothers already. And so there's little things going on, and my dad wasn't a very good person, but he taught me this joke, and it wasn't a very good joke. You know, misogyny ruled the day. But the mind of a 5-year-old, right? And I'm on a bus in Hawaii with my mom and her best friend, and I'm like, hey, I want to tell you this joke, Beverly. And she's like, okay. So I tell this joke, and the joke basically culminates with me grabbing her breast. 5 years old, I give her a honk honk. Well, actually, it was a Roadrunner meep meep on public transit in Hawaii, and the look on her face, she was shocked, and my mom, trauma. How many different ways can you say trauma? How many different ways can a child traumatize their parent? And so the reason I'm talking about trauma is because that's what I suffered. This thing with Hilarapy, I didn't know it was going to be 8 weeks of therapy with a little bit of comedy thrown on top for icing. But what it did for me was it actually showed me some things that I thought I had packed up and put away, resolved, and it helped bring some things forward that I needed to unpack a little bit more and help me live a little bit more of a free life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful for my team too, because, you know, we worked well with each other in helping each other through these things with the leadership that helped us along. So anyways, for those of you emergency responders in the crowd, police, fire, nurses, security, first aid, you guys are the true heroes, really. So as an emergency responder, I have a little bit of an OCD thing that, you know, I don't show up at the crowds and say, hey, everybody, I'm Lee, I got PTSD, or I got OCD, but tonight it's appropriate because before the show, I went aisle by aisle. We made sure there was exactly enough space for each and every one of you to safely egress towards those 2 exit signs at the back of the room should the need occur. And by the way, there's no exit sign here, but there is an exit door here also, if it's needed. Yeah, see? Saved somebody's life tonight, I'm sure of it. You're welcome. So some of the things that happen when you're an emergency responder doing different tasks, I was manning a first aid room one day, and a fellow comes in, and his name is Norm. And Norm says to me, he says, hey, Lee, can I get a Band-Aid for a scratch? And I'm like, sure, Norm, what kind of Band-Aid would you like? Well, Norm, he's a little bit odd, and he says, well, Lee, maybe you should see it first. Do you hear that? They know. So he starts to pull the sleeve up on his arm, and there's blood caked all over the side of his hand, and it's kind of obvious there's something wrong there, and he shows it to me. I'm like, Norm, like there's a gash on his arm. It's bad, really bad. And I'm like, Norm, what happened? And Norm says to me, we were drinking. I fell. Now, it's 10 after 8 in the morning. We're just starting our work day. Norm, how long ago did this happen? And he's like, it was still daylight out, I think. So with that in mind, Norm was obviously at some party. So I've got a couple of tips on things not to do at your friend's drinking party. The number one thing, you ready for it, you guys? Did you catch up yet? No pillow fights. No pillow fights, come on. Those of you who remember, I put the mic down for a second. Get that pillow, wringing the feathers down into the bottom of that pillow, twist it around. And you remember getting hit by one of those? 5 pounds of feather that really felt like a rock. Mom! Can you say trauma? It wasn't my mom's trauma that time. Another thing to do not play hide the Johnny Walker on Randall. Because Randall sharpens knives for a living and he throws them. But one thing you may want to try, you find the drunkest person you know or whatever they're on. It's convince them to put their phone on airplane mode and chuck it off the balcony. Because you know it just won't fly. So anyways, back to Norm. My friend Norm. So he's revealed his arm and there's a gash from his wrist to his elbow. Like seriously, the full length of his forearm. If it had gone any further up, it would have been humorous. But it's true. This is the true story. So I sit him down in the chair, and I'm going to bandage him up and send him to the hospital for stitches. And I'm looking in the wound, and there's like little bits of plastic. And I'm like, Norm, this isn't bleeding. Like, I know you said it happened last night. What's all this plastic bit in your wound? And he's like, we put liquid skin on it to stop the bleeding. That shit really works. Okay, so what kind of party was he at that they had a gallon of liquid skin? They were drinking and kinking and drinking. And you know what? In conclusion, I have no conclusion. Good night, folks.